Hi everybody, Russ and my Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting that bell icon so you're made aware of any time putting new content on. We've got videos going up daily, interviewing fans, particularly in the off season now. We'll keep your football fix going in those 6 weeks before the mighty Hammers get back to the London Stadium in the Premier League as well, of course, which is great. And so make sure you hit that bell icon so you don't miss any content. Loads of great ex-players, loads of great fans travelling from all over the world, and including today's fan. He's as southern as you can get almost. It's Geoff Tingley. Hi Geoff, how are you doing, man?
Hi Russ, yeah, it's Geoff Tingley, also known as Geoff Brawler on Twitter and Instagram. So, yeah, Geoff Tingley.
Get your plug in. That's what I like. I'll call you Geoff for the rest of the time. So I'm rubbish with surnames. I should have asked before, and I do apologise. How are you? How's everything going in this sort of weird world we live in at the moment for you?
Yeah, good mate. Yeah, whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, obviously this that COVID thing hit end of March, and I had to work it. I could have done with a break, to be honest. I'd been working constantly since October. Visit my parents in Portugal for their golden anniversary. As soon as I got back about the 23rd of October, I just worked constantly all the way through. We hit COVID thinking, oh, do you know what? If they choose me for this furlough, I could do with a break. No. So I had to work, Monday to Friday. Unfortunately, I live in like a house share, but I live alone mainly because the guy that lives here with me, he was furloughed. He's from Devon, so I was living here alone. So I was here on my own. It was a bit rough, to be honest, but I got through.
Yeah, and obviously you do a lot of stuff. Obviously you comment on people on Twitter and Facebook. So although we didn't have the West Ham, you couldn't go to the games, or whatever. It was almost like people were still together, if that makes sense, virtually, right? Which is nice.
To be honest, I've probably been on Twitter now about 12, 13 years, and I think with them, that's where I'm most grateful. I have a lot of friends, and I found that out in December. I went through a bit of a rough time, going through a divorce, and them Twitter people, that what I call the West Ham family, like we're the biggest family club that I know.
Yeah. There
was a lot of people there for me, reaching out, asking you if you're okay, because I just went a bit quiet, was very lonely, so the Twitter family helped me out a lot. So
it's true.
It's true. They did, to talk with
totally.
people, whether it was openly or privately, at one stage when I did kind of open my Twitter back up, and there's like 27 private messages asking if you're okay, because you've gone a bit quiet. It's like, bloody hell, a lot of people do care about you. So I'm indebted to a large amount of people from Twitter that, they're like my second family. So
Of course, and you see that. I see that with loads of fans, and you see it, obviously on Facebook and stuff, with all the private groups, which I've been very fortunate to be invited into now. And you're right, it's I don't think we're biased, but the West Ham family seems the biggest. West Ham is the biggest family club I see. I don't see that interaction between Tottenham fans and Arsenal fans. They seem to have us throat on YouTube and stuff, but West Ham have this sort of real togetherness, which I've seen firsthand the last couple of weeks, particularly with a lot of people. As you said, you were in a sort of dark place in sort of the end of the year last year, and Jackie Hughes, his grandson, unfortunately passed away. He was only 15, and he managed to get like a floral tribute put on his seat for the last game at Villa, and all that stuff. And it goes unnoticed. It goes under the radar. And but the West Ham fans are the best fans, I think. They really are.
Well, do you know what I like best is you only have kind of like a little bit of colour on you, whether it be a shirt or a badge. You could be anywhere, shopping, you're at irons.
Yes.
Or just them little bits, and you think you wouldn't get that with another club. You wouldn't get that kind of terminology that we know what you mean. Okay, living on the south coast, Stokes Bay Beach, opposite the Isle of Wight. I got myself, when we're that really hot weather, I got a West Ham towel, obviously, goes down there. I'm there flicking it out, trying to lay it flat. People around, they saw it. You think,
yes,
bloody hell, And here we are on the south coast, and you've obviously, it's very Pompey or
Yeah.
Southampton down that way, But like I
I
said,
think even
just a
more
little
so.
bit.
I think you're right, and I think even more so in the sort of the extreme, not extremities, but as you said, where it's really Portsmouth and Southampton heartland where you live, and you almost this togetherness. It's like in the US Hammers with all the different pockets of American Hammers all over and it's true. It's like we've been social distancing for years, because all we do is go. We never shake hands. We just go, come your wines, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
it. We're done. We don't need to shake hands. No, just slap. Don't need to kiss. Come your wines. That's it. Done. We've done our. It's amazing. I mean, I always travel in colours. And like my. When I'm on holiday or whatever, literally every ever shirt I have is a West Ham shirt, and you get people coming up to you and talking, and it's brilliant. We go to the Norfolk Broads quite a lot, and obviously that's real Norwich territory, really, and so many West Ham fans over there. It's ridiculous, and no, I love it. No, it's so true. You don't get that. I don't see two Tottenham fans walking past each other on Hornchurch High Street where I live now,
no,
and
exactly. You
they
don't.
shout.
If you're not doing the crossed hammers or giving it the irons,
Yeah.
then they don't. They haven't got enough like that. So.
No, they don't. And I was talking to David Houtswick, who's one of the American Hammers. He lives in upstate New York, and he told me a story where literally he was wearing a West Ham scarf in Manhattan. This other guy was wearing a West Ham scarf. They literally crossed and nodded, and that was it. And
Eye contact. Yeah,
that's it. That's all I need to say.
Just that acknowledgement of family. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
I was in New York myself, 2012. For a trip, and I did. I went to Madison Square Garden for a basketball match, not the prop legit, as a collegiate final.
Yeah.
Was wearing a West Ham top, obviously claret and blue, and one of the teams played in a claret colour. Oh. And I had all these guys come up going, "What shirt's that then? What shirt's that?" I'm going, "Oh, it's a football." No, hang on. It's a soccer shirt from the United, And that was it. And I've probably got 2 or 3 friends still through Facebook I can still communicate with, because you just make friends at that very moment in time, thousands of miles away in New York, and now they're friends, Facebook friends sort of thing.
I know, it's mental, isn't it? It's so true, and it's something which people don't talk about as much. It's the sort of we all know the West Ham family and support base, but you're right. It's the friends you and it's not. I say it every episode. We're not in it for the football. We've backed the wrong horse if that's the case, but it is the community, the fans, the friendships.
Well,
and I think that's what people miss.
A little bit. You just saying that a little. I'm going to name drop here, but. Start the season, I think we got thrashed at home by Man City. Was it about 5-0, something like that? And I'd had a great day. I tried, I obviously travelled up from Portsmouth, met my guys at Waterloo, and you're seeing people swanning around Waterloo. I get Brawler, with the nickname of Brawler. Hello, mate, like this. And the lads on with her, what's this Brawler thing? Oh, so obviously it's a Twitter thing. They know me from Brawler. So obviously then I said to the lads, I said, well, look, they always kind of go to the Wellington at Waterloo, and then they travel up. I went, lads, I said, you do that. I said, but I've got friends that are at Stratford, at the Ball, at the Carpenters and what have you. And it was just one of them days where I was bumping into people I know. And there's too many people, male and female, that I will try and mention now and think, damn, I've left them out. So I don't want to mention anyone, but I just saw so many people. Now, then on the train home, I'm tweeting, despite the loss, what an amazing day. Yeah. My West Ham family are bumped into left, right, and centre, here and there, throughout the day, half time. Because at half time, I generally want to go and see some friends and catch up with them. And, I sit in 228 and then go to like the Bobby Moore Lower and bump into people and have a quick chat. Get back to my seat, and I just had an amazing day. And I put this tweet out saying, "What a great day!" Who picked up on it? David Gold. Much to my shock, he's commented on it saying, "Something about gentlemen. That's what we like to see." The fact that he'd commented on the fact, we'd lost 5-0, whatever the score was, but the fact that I'd had such a great day. It was about the social. because now, you know, we kind of went to that game, you know, if we get draw, we'll be happy, you know,
Yeah.
and we got stuffed. But the fact that I still had a great day, and he picked up on that, and I thought, that was really nice of him. So
Yeah, no, exactly, and it's true. It is true, and as you said, it's not. I think that's what people miss the most. Yeah, you can have, you know. Are you when you watch the sort of the games on telly at the moment, Geoff? Are you a crowd noise on or a crowd noise off type of man?
it's weird because when the noise is on, it actually feels like there are people there.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
It's very clever. And when I was with the guys yesterday, young Alfie was telling me that apparently he's seen with us through Instagram, he's seen the little machine they use, and they press a button for bubbles. Yeah. They press a button for, that's a bit of uproar and that. And I'm like, crikey, is that how it works? You know, they literally.
Well, I don't think the bubbles one because I play that, and so it's not. But the rest of it is in game. It is. We can't play. So from a technical perspective, we can't play any crowd noise during game. Otherwise, it'd be weird because you get the. But I play the bubbles. Doesn't what you said? I play the bubbles, but it is a different version. So it is a different version with the crowd singing it rather than.
I enjoy it with the crowd noise. I do. I must admit.
Yeah, I'm a crowd noise person. I hate going to the London Stadium at the moment because it's so quiet. You can hear like the key. You can hear the keyboards of the journalists. Like that's how quiet it is. It's ridiculous. But
it's a strange thing being an MMA fan and watching the recent UFC shows, hence the Brawler nickname. It was you can hear the coaches shouting and what have you, and obviously
that's interesting. That must be really interesting from the coaches.
Some fighters like it, some fighters don't because they can now for once actually hear them coaches advising them. And one of the fights in the last couple of months where one of the commentators was going, this fighter should be doing that. And that fighter picked up on that, ended up winning the fight because he started to block leg kicks. And you think to yourself, well, flipping neck, you know. So it's been so different with noise on, no noise, you know. So
yeah, it is. It is. And by all accounts, we'll probably have a few games next season where it will still be like that. And then they'll start, they haven't announced it, but I think then they're going to start introducing a small pocket of fans. And I think as soon as the fans get in there, the better. So I think that's what people miss. And that's why, you know, we get, you know, people invite me, bless them, to Zoom watch along parties this season and stuff where we sort of sat, and that's lovely, and it is lovely. But you know, because it's like people they're sitting with, and I think as soon as we get everyone better back in the stadium, the better. But yeah, no, I think it just shows you how much fans mean to the whole spectacle of the game. You know what I mean? Talking to some ex-players, and I asked them, you know, what's it like doing sort of reserve team games and stuff. There's no fans there because it's really hard, and it's like it must be hard for the players now because if you're not feeling it or maybe it's not going your way, those fans can give you those extra 15, 10, 20% to up your game a little bit.
We all did it. We all did it as teenagers.
Yes,
you know, or Sunday football. You know, unfortunately, my playing career ended in '92. I thought I was actually going to go somewhere as a goalkeeper. You know, even at 5'10", I thought I'm going to go somewhere. But I had a bad leg break. So but we all played Sunday football. There was no atmosphere then.
Yeah, and you had to give it. Yeah, but again, it's it's one of those. I just think I'm glad the season's over with. I mean, it's not good for you because you miss going to Bournemouth away. You know, you'd have been.
Yeah, if you can get a ticket.
Yes, exactly.
I wish I could remember his name, but there's one guy that I'm sure it was a Boxing Day, and I was there, and obviously I travelled up, didn't have a ticket, and I got in, and I was just over the moon. So getting a ticket for Bournemouth is like rock and roll, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. I was really hoping Bournemouth stayed up because
I was yesterday. You just wanted that one more goal. Watford going down was a bonus, but I would have liked Bournemouth to. It is a nice trip up there.
Yeah. So, I mean, trip up for you. Yeah, trip down for me.
nice short trip then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A short. Yeah. I mean, how long does it take you to get to a home game then, Geoff?
To a home game,
Yeah. So from
I
London
suppose
Stadium, what's your
without
journey?
stopping for beer, probably about 2.5 hours.
Yeah. So what time do you
Yeah,
have to
about
get
two and a
up
half hours. Yeah.
on a match day? What time do you have to get up to make sure? Because you, including beer, obviously, including beer. What's your usual
Well,
journey to the
I
game?
generally from Portsmouth Harbour get about the 10 past 10, and depending on which way it goes, it can either take an hour and 3/4 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, when I used to live in a suburb of Southampton, you used to get the fast train from Parkway, which is right adjacent to Southampton Airport.
Yeah.
You could be there in just literally over an hour. You know, so obviously moving back to
Crazy.
my hometown, it changed things. Having to sort of like travel on my own over to Portsmouth, get the train from Portsmouth, and it just takes a bit longer. But do you know what? Again, I have made so many friends. I just sit there. I'm a chatty guy, and I'll talk to anyone. And I've made friends on the train, traveling up. In my head, just so many scenarios of meeting people, traveling up, you know, and you end up going to Stratford for beers with them. You know, it's great.
Yeah.
So it's
As
like I
you
said,
said.
it's the big social. It's the
Yeah.
big part of the experience. I mean, one of the best ones was two guys coming over from the Isle of Wight, and we stood there at the Portsmouth Harbour platform waiting to get on. And I looked at these guys. I could see their shirts underneath their jackets. I said, "Go to West Ham." Yeah. All right. And I got on. I said, "You guys, you know, not sit next with them,
Yeah.
but sit on the opposite table." This was obviously before COVID. This was this year. I'm sure it was. And you know, these two guys, father and son, travelling from the Isle of Wight. So again, that's a little bit further than me. You've got to get up real early to get the boat
Yeah.
across. You know.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
It's
Great
brilliant.
times.
And then so how did it start for you, Geoff? So why are you a West Ham fan? Because obviously you're not sort of geographically close to
No,
up
no, no.
to London Park at the time, but why are you a West Ham fan, Geoff? That's the question I want to ask.
Well, my dad Lionel was obviously brought up in Dagenham,
Yeah.
and then I don't know. I'm not sure the age, whether it's between the age of 5 and 10. My grandparents decided to move south to Gosport. My granddad was like a ship's captain on like the boats going out of Portsmouth Harbour. So obviously living in Gosport was easy for him to get work. So obviously,
Yeah.
you know, say from the age of 10. But you know, even then, when my dad was 10, he would still travel up himself. My dad would sit with the train driver. My granddad would say,
Oh, wow.
"Look after my son. There's going to be family picking him up at Victoria or Waterloo." And at 10, 11 years old, he was still traveling, you know. So you're talking, he was born in 1957, 1960. He was traveling up on his own and getting met by family. But obviously, with that, at 10 years old in 1980, not like it is now where the parents take their sons and daughters. Unfortunately for me, my dad took my mum to the cup final in 1980. And obviously I was a West Ham supporter, but you're too young to even realise whether or not you were.
Yeah.
I've got no early memories of before the cup final. But obviously come back with a scarf and a programme, and you know, remember going back to school. That's it. I'm a West Ham supporter. We've just won the FA Cup. So it was like you said the other day, a bit of a glory hunter, so to speak. But no, obviously my dad was West Ham anyway. And the funny thing was, my mum was Arsenal, apparently. Now the Geoff part, I was named after Geoff Hurst. I was talking to my parents about this the weekend, and it turns out that my mum wanted to call me Stephen, and my dad was like, "No, you're going to be named after Sir Geoff." So I am Geoff, you know, Jeffrey in full, but you know, it's named after Sir Geoff Hurst. So I'm quite proud of that. So yeah, that's how it started for me around about 1980. And, you know, everyone then at my school knew that I was a West Ham supporter, you know?
Yeah.
Just went from there.
That's fantastic. Oh, I love that. I love that story that named after Sir Geoff. That's brilliant. I have a similar story with my daughter, Paolo. No, that's not that. I did try. Actually, I did try with my daughter. I mean, you know, there wasn't many. I mean, she's obviously Florence, and it's like, yeah, I did try. Paula, Poor, no. Okay, but no, yeah, yeah, I love stuff like that. And obviously, since then, your season ticket holder now. We loads of loads of hours spent on the train. But obviously, I imagine you'd go to all the away, like Southampton and stuff like that as well, wouldn't you? All the away games near you.
Yeah, well, obviously, I would say from like as a teenager, 13, 14,
Yeah.
all the way up to kind of like being whether you call it a man at 19, and I'd left home at 19 and got my own sort of place. But I'd go to the Goldstone Ground or the Dell with my dad. So a lot of my early memories were going to them matches. Before St Mary's became Southampton's ground.
Yep.
That's my earliest memories of going to see West Ham. I couldn't even, I've got no earliest memory of Upton Park until I was in my 20s, because obviously, my dad was still a bit of a lad, so he still got together with mates of his and went. It's not like it is now, father and son. It wasn't like
I know what you mean,
back then. So yeah.
You were cramping in style, Geoff. That was the trouble, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously, since then, you've been a season ticket holder. You've seen plenty of games. Obviously, we do this thing, the Hammers 11 thing. So that's the idea of the channel. So apologies, if everyone worries about my eye, I'm okay. I didn't get beaten up by Mrs. Budden. I've got a stice. That's why. But, yeah. This one. Yeah, no one. And so we do the Hammers 11. So the idea is we pick your 11 based on the players that you've been alive to see play, basically. And yeah, we'll try and keep it to a 4-4-2. But I'm getting a bit soft in my old age, Geoff, to be honest. So I'm open to whatever formation you want to play. It doesn't really matter.
Really?
It's just the 11.
Because I've done a 4-4-2, but I actually wanted to do a 3-5-2.
Do whatever you want, man. Do whatever you want, Geoff.
It kind of changes the element of the team, I must admit. And obviously, like you said, the emphasis being you had to have seen them play. So for me, obviously, there are random games, as a young lad that I was live at, and I had to get affirmation from my dad. Yeah, you were at that game. So yeah, obviously not old enough to have seen Bobby Moore. So obviously, let me just swipe away these notifications. Bugger.
Yeah,
for me,
that's the idea. You can't put, and that's the idea. If we did pick your greatest 11, then everyone's would be almost identically the same, because it would be Bobby Moore, Brooking, Bonds, but I never saw any three of them play. So for me,
you never got to see Brooking play.
No. I started watching West Ham in the early 90s, and so I never saw any of them play. So they're not in my greatest team.
I feel quite fortunate then, I must admit, because being quite a good footballer at school, and you used to be able to choose who you were.
Yeah.
As such, playing on the school field with a tennis ball at that, I was always Brooking. It was my hero as a 15-year-old. So automatically he goes straight into my team because he was my.
We'll come to the midfield. No spoilers. No spoilers. Right. Okay. Let's start between the sticks. Who are we going to have in goal for the Geoff 11?
Well, here's the thing. So obviously, I was fortunate enough to have seen Phil Parkes play.
Yep.
And then Ludo, which is the greatest song of all time.
Yes.
And I also like Rob Green. But out of the three, I'll probably go with, at the time, the world's most expensive goalkeeper. I'd go with Phil Parkes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was up there. He's just that, when you go back and watch games on YouTube and, like I have in the last few days, just to compare, I'm thinking, what would he have been like in this era? He was just such a dominant, Ludo was brilliant, I must admit, but I'd go with Phil Parkes.
Yeah. No, you're right. He was just so you know when they say a goalkeeper fills the goal, basically that was Phil Parkes, wasn't it? He
Yeah.
just filled the goal. It's just intimidate, particularly on sort of the smaller forwards, coming down and bearing down with Phil Parkes running at you, or not running at you, but just standing
Mm,
there. Yeah, big lad and huge hands. He's 70 soon, Phil Parkes. Did you know that?
really.
Very soon, his 70th
70.
birthday. Yes,
My gosh.
I interviewed his daughter the other day, and she mentioned that to me. 70, that's fantastic. It's just makes for people who saw him play, were like, God, I feel old now. But yeah, and he's been growing his hair. He's been growing the mullet back for the 70th celebration. So
Really?
that'd be good to. Yeah,
It was
apparently
that
so.
big,
So that's good.
it was that porn star moustache that he used to have as well, wasn't it?
That's still there, but it was like I think
That's still
in
there,
lock.
is it? Oh,
Yeah, he's
crikey.
still got the moustache, but in lockdown, I think he's it's taken a bit of a life of its own. The mullet's come back, so yeah, I'm sure there'll be plenty of photos on Facebook and stuff once when the celebrations happen, whenever they do. But yeah,
Mm.
Parks is in. Geoff, you can go for the team in any order you want, man. You carry on. You carry
Yeah,
on.
okay.
Go for it.
Okay, again, obviously fortunate enough, obviously I was 50 this year, so I'm fortunate enough to. Now this was a toss up. We'll stick with the 4-4-2
No worries.
because obviously that's what I've written down.
No worries.
So yes, I did see Ray Stewart, but because obviously I want to fit a certain player in, and I think most people would have Billy Bonds in their team. Yeah. I would go with Billy as a right back. I believe he did play as a right.
Yes,
right
well, he
back.
started
Maybe,
as
obviously, I
right
was
back.
probably too young to remember that, but I think he started out as a number 2.
Yeah.
I think was he succeeded by John McDowell? I'm not too sure, but
I mean, it sounds right, but I'm sure
yeah.
someone on will Kent Hammers or someone will
Well,
will
you'd
correct
want
me.
Ray Stewart in your team just for a penalty, but
Yeah.
I've got another successful penalty
Okay.
taker in the team.
No problem.
So and also Billy Bonds was my dad's favourite. So
Nice.
he loved the guy, and he was he was the original Mr. West Ham, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe other than Bobby,
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely Billy. Yeah.
Yeah, Billy's in. Good shout. Go on,
Yeah.
you carry on, Geoff. You carry on, man. I'll just jump in.
Okay, and obviously, of that era again, I think they were a formidable duo, especially in '86. 16 years old, still at school, and I've got to go with Tony Gale and Alvin Martin.
Yeah.
That that '86 year, one of West Ham's best. Them two in the centre of defence, just formidable. And it goes without saying. Reference Tony Gale. So probably now, where are we now? 20. I think it was 2009 at Upton Park. I was fortunate enough to have gone to Upton Park and met a guy that you may know as the bowling poet called Danny Fenn.
Yeah.
You know Danny Fenn?
Yeah,
the bowling poet. He used to work at West Ham. And I met him this particular occasion, got on really well with him. He gave me a personal tour of Upton Park, which is very fond to me, I must admit, because it was very personal. Went to a few places apparently you're not supposed to go, which he said to me. He said, keep this hushed. But it don't exist no more, so it don't matter. But, and he said to me, he said, oh, do you come up? Do you come up? I said, getting a ticket is ridiculous. It's so difficult. Coming from where I come from. He said, well, look, he said, if you can get a ticket to a game, come on up. And I managed to get a ticket for, I think it was Blackburn. And anyway, so I contacted Danny. I've got a ticket for Blackburn. He said, well, this is what I'm going to do for you. He said, if you come up the day before, you can stay in the hotel. It's being arranged for you to stay in the hotel as part of Upton Park.
Oh, nice.
I was like, wow, oh, crikey. Okay, so he did that. Took my friend Tony up with me. And anyway, so we'd had breakfast. I think it was called the Brooking Suite or something like that.
Yeah.
We had breakfast and what have you. Our room, this hotel room with the sliding doors out into the pitch, our room was
crazy. It was crazy, wasn't it?
Winston's. We had Ray Winston's room, you know. Anyway, so we were told to come back at 1 o'clock as a kind of experience. So anyway, we disappeared for a few hours, and we come back at 1. The steward at the gate went, "Yeah, I recognise you lads, in you come." We goes in, and lo and behold, Tony Gale's there with his son. So we just went up with him. Tony's got his big flash camera. "Can we have a picture, Tony? What have you?" "Yeah, lads. Yeah, no worries. Take a few pictures." So met Tony Gale. "Yeah, nice to meet you, lads. Thank you very much." Well, we just went about the rest of our day. We goes in, gets invited upstairs to where they're having pre-lunch thing and what have you laid on. We had our own table, you know. And this little table said, "West Ham United welcome the Tingley family," you know. It was spelt without the E in the Tingley, which, you know. But anyway, so we're sat there thinking, "Wow, this is posh," looking around at all these posh tables and what have you. Next thing you know, Danny Fenn walks over. He said, "Oh, lads," he said, "just to give you a heads up," he said, "you got a couple of guys having dinner with you. Tony Gale and his son and Stuart Slater." So Tony Gale comes across and he's like, "Hello, fellas, didn't I see you outside?" We're like, yeah, we are." He said, "Oh, so you're the guys I'm having dinner with." And honest to God, for the next hour or so, till about 2:30, sat there with Tony and Stuart, you know, brilliant. Just treated us as normal guys, and we had a great time, you know. Brilliant. And then we went to our seat. But yeah, so Tony Gale was brilliant on that day, you know. And quickly just mentioning Alvin Martin, he played for England. I think it was, I can never remember whether it's the 4th of May or the 10th of May, 1981. My dad took me and some of his work colleagues for England-Brazil at Wembley in a friendly, and our seats were next to, when you go up the stairs to go and receive the trophy, halfway up, we were sat right next to them steps. So obviously Brazil beat England 1-0 that day, and but Alvin Martin was playing for England, and I'll never forget it because obviously I was about 3 seats in, and my dad was adamant that was like, "You are going to shake hands with Alvin Martin." So my claim to fame was I shook hands with Alvin Martin on that day with his England shirt, you know, and obviously doing, but that's a "Come on, you Irons," you know. So that was there. So that's Tony Gale, Alvin Martin, my central defenders.
Yeah, nice and solid. No, yeah, and I love Tony. He's such a nice guy. We've had him on the channel, and he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He's just, they all are, all that generation are brilliant. They really are. They're all such lovely guys. Stuart Slater as well, you know, lovely guys. Right, you carry on, Geoff. You go to your left back and what? You carry on, man.
Okay, well, obviously it's a bit obvious because I've got my coaster just here. I you probably can't see it, but Julian Dicks, without shadow of doubt, you know, Mr. Terminator. You know, you just knew if he was 30 yards out that, you know, there was going to be a shot, you know, or if there was a penalty, you're thinking, "Oh, we're going to score here," because there was no way he was going to miss, you know. And did he ever miss? I don't know. Did he ever miss? But you know, I was quite fortunate last year at Isla Caton's charity thing. Yeah. I was at that, and my day was made. You know, Julian was there with his family. I'd been friends with Jessica Dicks on Twitter for a few years. So I got to meet her and her boyfriend at the time, and there was Julian, and that was it. And my life was made, you know, to get a picture with him. So definitely Julian Dicks, left back.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to see him back at the London Stadium with Slav next year as well.
Yeah, just you'd still like to think that in some capacity. I mean, okay, Kevin Nolan being there is fantastic because he loves the club, you know, but. Isn't it weird? Obviously, I heard that Zavon Hines is still associated with the club, and Potsy's still associated with the
Kevin
club.
Keane and
you'd think there'd be some way that all of these players, obviously Alvin Martin's son plays, and you know he's still with the club, and you'd think in some way that all of the ex-players would still have something to do with the club, and obviously you know Slav and Dixie had their run. You know, and they've done fantastic, you know, especially going straight up. So, they'll get a round of applause next season.
Of course they will. Of course they will, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
a big fan.
definitely.
Big, yeah, and you're right. It's not, but also I like to see the old boys doing well. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, and you're right. There is a new. It does seem in the last, definitely since the Moyes era, I think. Part two, part deux, that there has been a move to get more ex players in the backroom staff. As you said, Kevin Nolan's in. You've got Potsy. You've got Kevin Keane at the 18s. You had Jack before he went to Atlanta, but then when I interviewed
Yeah.
him, he's chomping at the bits to come back home. By the sounds of it, you've got Zavon, you've got Carlton Cole, Paul
Well, I was gonna.
Konchesky, loads.
Have you done the tour of the stadium?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
this. Yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, obviously, okay, so we're not at Upton Park no more, and obviously, them days are gone. We've just got to
yeah,
accept it for what it is.
yeah,
As much as we'd love a purpose-built stadium for us, built somewhere, get away from an Olympic stadium, but obviously they're changing a lot of things. But I've done the tour last year, and it's
yeah,
kind of like I kept thinking to myself, surely West Ham, when they sign these new foreign players, they should make them do the tour, make them understand the history. Even have an interpreter for them, telling them the history of the club, for them to walk around with ex-players and get that feel of what it feels like to pull on a claret and blue shirt.
yeah,
Because it is the passion of the fans.
yeah,
Them days of Upton Park and singing the bubbles.
yeah, definitely.
It's sometimes you go to away matches. There's no better atmosphere than the travelling West Ham fans. I mean,
No,
Leicester a few years ago with James Collins. Oh my gosh, I was still in the stadium 20 minutes later singing that song.
yeah,
Travelling home with no voice.
yeah,
Was incredible. But we don't get that at home games because I think it's just too big. And
possibly,
when
yeah,
there's a home game and it's just so quiet and you think, flipping it, and there's minorities start to sing
yes, yeah,
songs and
yeah,
you're
yeah,
thinking,
yeah,
grow, grow, grow. Come on, let's get it going. The bubbles you get the bubble song, but
yeah,
there are other songs that at away games that get the atmosphere continuous,
yeah.
song after song
You're
after
right.
song. And you want that at home games and you feel like, just come on.
And I think I
So
think you're right. I think it's a team as well, and I think you're right. If the team it leads the other, doesn't it? So it's like the team will lead the fans, and the fans will lead. So it's sort of like balance. And you're right. I mean, I think now with the new, again with the Moyes era, it seems that he's got a real. In terms of the transfers, I don't think under David Moyes you're going to have lots of expensive foreign based players coming on. It's going to be hungry championship based players, and I
yeah,
think they're gonna really enthuse the crowd because I think you talk about someone like Julian Dicks, for example. He from left back could conduct the crowd. He would do a crunching tackle, a 30-yard ping, a penalty, and it would galvanise the
that's
crowd.
what you wanted.
And
Yeah,
that's exactly
you
what you
wanted
need.
that passion every game.
Yeah,
You want that passion. That's why I still feel I love Dix at West Ham because
yeah.
okay, he ran the ladies team and then he was obviously a coach with Slav. Could you imagine being 2-0 down to a lower team and then getting back in the changing room and having Dix give you a
Yeah.
rollicking?
I know, and Julian Wood, and what I like
Yeah,
that's actually what I like about Kevin Nolan because he won't just wait to the dressing room. He'll be up there shout, and he does, and even more. You can hear it now. He
right. I
proper
see.
goes at it, and I think that's why. And I think you're right, but I think it's all about. I think people like Bowen, he puts it about. He is, he's good. Suchek, Rice, we're starting to build a team where there are gonna give 100. That's what we want for West Ham. Give 100%. Run after that pointless ball in the corner. Like someone like Ian Dowie would always do it. Run after it. You're not gonna get that ball. You're not gonna get it, Ian. But you
No.
still run after it, and we still
Yeah,
appreciate your effort. That's what we need at
exactly.
West Ham. That's all we
Yeah, and when
need.
they made that effort, if they didn't get it, they'd get applauded for that effort running
Exactly.
back.
Yeah.
And that's the enthusiasm, that's the passion for the club to run for that last ball before it went over that white line. If you didn't get it, you didn't get it, but you got applauded for making the effort, and that's the kind of players that you want. And I feel that's kind of, with the Anderson, you just didn't see that with him,
No.
and I certainly won't be shedding a tear if he goes because he just lacked enthusiasm.
Yeah. I
So
get that. I get that. Right. Okay. Let's move on. So Julian's in. Who you gonna have? Who's gonna be next? Who's gonna be next, Geoff?
So, should we start in the middle? And obviously,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Go on. Let's go in the middle.
well, it's weird because obviously Brooking was a number 10, right?
Yeah.
But even though it was like it's kind of trying to. It had to be in my team, but I would never have him up as my central two strikers. You know, so he had to go in my team. So obviously, you know, it'd be kind of like one of them middle two players, just because he was my all-time favourite. You know, the consummate gentleman. You know, did he ever get a booking? You know, just another Mr. West Ham. You know, So yeah, Trev would be in there, and there was a dilemma. Who were you going to have in the middle of the park with him?
Exactly.
You know, to kind of orchestrate things, and then straight away, I just think Declan Rice is just absolutely fantastic. But it's not right now for me to put him in. You know, because I just think he's fantastic. You know, to me he's a future England captain. You know,
Definitely.
and that's to echo my mate Warren's sentiment. He's like, you know, Declan is the future of English football, whether he's at West Ham or not. And if he moves on, he moves on. But he's done his part for us. But as much as I want to choose him, then you got to think to yourself, right? Who have I seen? And it's like, okay, do you go with Noble? You know, again, Mr. West Ham, or Alan Dickens, another guy that run. But I'm going to go with Scott Parker.
Scotty Parker, yeah.
Scotty Parker in the middle. You know, I don't know. I just loved watching him play.
Me too.
Inch perfect passes. He scored some amazing goals as well.
He did.
Absolutely amazing goals. You know, so he seemed to just orchestrate so much. You know, and again, I just wish he was still involved with the club. I really do. And obviously, you know, as a coach or what, but Scott Parker for me. You know, having seen him play live.
And who knows, he could be back as well. You know. No, did Fulham in the playoffs, aren't they? I don't know. I'm so so he could come back. I know what you mean about Scott Parker. He doesn't. I could see Mark Noble fitting into because he does remind, because I could see when Mark retires him doing a Scott Parker. Do you know what I mean? In terms of he's got a similar way about him in terms of how he conducts himself, and I think he learnt a lot being Scott Parker's deputy during the Scott Parker era, in the same way that Deck is learning a lot from Mark Noble. And
exactly.
And I just, I would love Declan Rice to be our next Mr. West Ham, and 500 games would be lovely, but we shall see. But
to follow, follow in the footsteps of Bobby, you'd love to think that, whether it be Europeans in it coming up. Is it? Oh, that's not. That's 2020. Yeah, but I mean, could you imagine the scenario, whether it be 4 years or 6, 8 years? Deck's England captain, and he lifts the World Cup still as a West Ham player. How amazing would that be?
It'd be incredible.
Yeah. So
we'll see. Football's a funny old game, as we know, Geoff, isn't it? So we'll see. Although I think there's loads of talk with him. Was the other day his last game? And I mean, he's just won Hammer of the Year. Clearly Mark's going to be playing a lot of games next year. He's going to be club cat. He's going to be. I'd basically tomorrow make Deck. The playing captain. Yeah, the team captain, exactly.
Team captain.
Because and give him a little. Brucey bonus or whatever, and
definitely,
and then just say, look, be different. You don't have to go to Chelsea and get ruined like Mason Mount and Ollie and Barkley and Scott Parker did, and just be different. You can be the big fish in a small pond here, and you can see how
so unfortunate over the years. Obviously that era
Yeah.
of Carrick, and Ferdinand,
Oh,
and they all
definitely.
went on to
Yeah.
bigger clubs, in England careers, and if they'd stayed at West Ham, would we've still been the same? It's a
Who
real shame.
knows?
And like you said, if he could stay and build something and be the main guy, it would be brilliant. But fingers crossed on that one. I
We'll
really
see.
think so.
Although I've got, and I know that the thing about Deck. I think if we know, obviously he knows his worth. We know his worth. And if Chelsea came in and said, right, here's 30 million and Batshuayi, and we tell him to do one, Deck's not going to be that type of person who's going to throw his toys out and do a Payet, is he? He's going to
No,
be like, no, I know my worth. And, he's playing, I mean, he's still bloody young. I don't know, he must be one of the youngest players to played how many games he's played for the Premier League, in the Premier League already. He's got
yeah,
he's got a
and
long
England.
career ahead. And
He's
England,
in the England
exactly.
squad,
So,
isn't he? So
yeah. So what's he got to worry about? Just stay, Dick. Just stay.
yeah.
I'm sure he's watching, Geoff. I'm sure he's watching. I'm sure
Yeah.
he's not on a plane. It's like the other day. It's like I noticed on Instagram, Lanzini was like on the plane, like 7 o'clock, like on Sunday night. He must have got to somewhere like London City or something, pretty sharpish after the game. But yeah, no, they enjoy their holidays for a few weeks. Right, okay. Scott Parker's in. Who are you going to have on the wings? And who's going to be your first winger then?
Again, a big toss up. Mark Ward, possibly.
Mm.
Yeah, saw him play. Even I'm old enough to remember Jimmy Neighbour. Down that right flank. But might be controversial, but I'm going to choose him as a right-sided player. Whether he's right or left, I don't know. The two I've kind of chosen could probably swap, but
Yeah.
I've got to go with I've forgotten his name. Payet. I've got to go with Payet.
Yeah.
I've got to go with Payet. Just being obviously being at the stadium and being obviously at Upton Park and I don't know. It's just a real shame, because he's got to be one of the best players we've ever had at the club. Just some of the stuff he used to do,
You're right. He was mesmeric, wasn't he? And again, it all worked that season. You had the right manager, you had a ex-West Ham player as a manager, Julian as the coach. You had Payet, the last season at Bowling, everything. It doesn't usually happen that way, where everything sort of works at the same time for West Ham, and it did. All the pieces in the puzzle slotted together nicely that season, and it was an honour watching Payet play, having a player that skillful, that much of a world superstar, really. And he wasn't really before he came to us. Really, he was.
No,
I mean,
no.
he was high up in the European stats for chances created or whatever.
Yeah.
But no one really heard of him until he came to West Ham, and then he got onto this world stage and ended up being one of the voted 10th or whatever Ballon d'Or. Whenever we have a nomination of the Ballon d'Or, so
no. Like you said, obviously, in the last 5 years, watching a player live, the emphasis being of what this Hammers 11, watching a player live, and just whether you watched it, the replay, watched it on the TV later, and you got to see up close just the little touches and the creativity and the free kicks. I mean, I think it was Palace one. Now, I mean, I was the biggest fan of Zico as a boy, and I loved Zico. To me, Maradona was nothing compared to Zico. He used to do them banana shots, and you'd think, oh my gosh, nothing touches that. Platini come along with a couple and what have you, but Zico was the man. But seeing Payet do them banana shots, the Man United one, beating De Gea from that distance, and the Crystal Palace. To me, I always said that Trevor Brooking's goal for England when it stuck in that little
Yeah,
corner.
yeah.
That was always my favourite goal because it just went boom and it just stuck there. And that was
Yeah.
always my favourite goal. Obviously, Brooking, my favourite player. What a goal. But seeing that shot with that free kick, and I thought, yeah, that's going over. That's more, and it just bent in. You know, that's my.
It was
favourite
mental,
goal.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was mental how that sort of he managed to get it. It was just it seemed
was
to
going
defy
away.
gravity. Yeah,
It
it
was-
just defied gravity, didn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Payet's in. Who's on the other wing then, Geoff?
Again, big toss up between two. In fact, three players. I was like, I've seen all three play. I was like, if and a button, which one would make a big difference, if this was a legitimate team, So the choice off Liam Brady. Okay, come from Arsenal, but he obviously wouldn't with us that long, but he was brilliant. Matt Everington. In fact, there's four. Because you can't dismiss Alan Devonshire, and that was it was a real like, oh crikey, which one am I going to choose? Devonshire, Everington, Liam Brady. Well, I'm going with Joe Cole. Joe Cole. Whether it's left or right wing, in a 4-4-2, Joe Cole again. Just that era of watching West Ham. You were so looking for. You heard the rumblings.
Yes, you did.
Of this lad coming up, and you think, when's he going to get a run out? When's he going to get a run out? A big shame that he left. And to be honest, to echo a few, I thought it myself because obviously Joe Cole's been quite prevalent, been quite outspoken these last few months about West Ham, and I can't remember. It might have been Baz Cox that said it, and when he said it, I thought, do you know what? He's bloody right. I'm sure it might have been him, or it was either Frankie or Baz on their YouTube thing. But it's like if they hadn't have kept Moyes on and what have you, I'd have Joe Cole as manager.
I think he speaks so.
He knows what the fans want. Get that passion back in. So you hear it in interviews with Joe. And he gets obviously frustrated when we're crap. So.
Well, I mean, his family is still massive West Ham. His dad's still, they're all still massive. He comes from a West Ham family, so you're right. And I think he is, and he's. I mean, everyone's always said that he's had a good, he's got a good football brain, but he talks so eloquently, doing on BT, doing analyst roles and stuff like that. He is going to have a fantastic career as being a manager. I mean, I think he left Chelsea coaching this season. He's going to take a year out, I think, going around all different places around the world, learning from different coaches, and then go back into the game, and he will be fantastic wherever he goes, because I just think he just has it, and I'd love to see him at West Ham eventually, because I just think, but there's a whole group of them. I'd love to see Joe back. I'd love to see Jack Collison back. I think Jack's a fantastic coach as well. Mark Noble will be retired by then. There's loads. It's very similar to
they can be the core coaches. Whether it be for players coming up through the ranks or players they bring in. I would imagine that Jared Bowen under the West Ham umbrella now, with the right people in his ear, he's flourishing, but he's got that passion and enthusiasm anyway.
That's what we need,
And with having the right people in his ear, his game was going to go twofold. He's English, isn't he? He's English. I give it two seasons. If he starts finding his feet and banging in the goals, he's going to be knocking on England's door,
Yeah, I mean, you look at someone like Souček as well. He's, we've signed him for, I think 16 combined, 3, and you could put him in the market tomorrow, and you'd double your money straight away on him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
and that's the sort of the model I think West Ham has to adopt. We're never going to be competing for the Champions League spots at the moment. It's this. I know Moyes has talked about it, sort of RB Leipzig model, and getting hungry. And I think actually West Ham fans would like that because they're young, they're hungry, and hopefully we'd keep a few of them. We'd sell a few on and make profit. But that's how we have to work, unfortunately, in this climate. And you're right, someone like Joe, and I just think there's so much that that sort of older generation of players can develop these young talents with, and someone like Joe, the right tutelage, as you said, someone like Bowen and people like that would just be world beaters. I think Bowen's just got all the attributes. I'm really excited to see him next season because I just think
two best signings of the season just gone past for us. To have tied up Souček as well. When, like you just said, if we hadn't have tied him up, the likes of Spurs and Man United would have been flipping it like, we're gonna. If you can't afford, if you're going to afford him, we're going to take him because we've now seen how good he is playing for your lot. So good. I'm glad.
And it gives you that. And he gives us that aerial threat, which we've never really had since someone like Chiati left. Sort of tall midfield players. And it just, how many goals we scored from corners and throw-ons and things like that in the last since restart. It just gives this extra element of our game now, which we never really had until Moyes has come back. And even the corners, all those corners, I am pretty sure a lot of it's Kevin Nolan's influence. Because he had scored so many goals in corners, and you can see we're a bit gnarly at corners. We're a little bit not nasty, but we're always we stick in a little bit more now, and you can imagine that is Kevin Nolan's influence on that because he was a bastard, but he was our bastard, and and that's what we're doing more, and it's nice to see them putting a bit now, and although Declan Rice thinks he can shoot from 40 yards all the time now, so but why not? Why not? God,
what was going on yesterday, Dick? Did you swap boots with Mikel Antonio or something?
Oh no, bless him. God bless him. He's But yeah, no, we'll put Joe. Put Joe. I love these shows because you just go on this massive tangent. We'll go for Joe Cole on the wing. That's very good. Up front, Geoff, who have we got, man?
Up front. Okay, so I'm going to choose a given, because again, a West Ham hero, again, got to be associated with the club, and then I'm going to go with someone quite random because I was there live when he scored his first goal. I'll never forget the feeling again, the rumblings of this young player coming up, whether anyone guesses it or not, But I'm going to go with Paolo Di Canio first.
Yeah.
It's just passion personified of, again, could you imagine being 2-0 down? He's your dream manager, and he'd be like, what's that old prawn sandwich gate that had at Man United?
There'd be nothing left. He'd be throwing it all, wouldn't he? Oh, bless him.
I think you'd have to. I mean, there was so many to choose from, and obviously the likes of McAvenny and Cotty and Swindlehurst and Marlon Harewood and all of them ones. You're thinking, saw them all live, but what was the one that just sealed the deal? Paolo Di Canio was just, and watching recent. I watched your Harry Redknapp one.
Yes.
This, and he was talking about Paolo, and I think listening to that, I was like, do you know what, that settles it for me. No, he's a special guy. My final choice, I don't know. I don't want to call it like an unsung hero, but as much as grew up with McAvenny and Cotty in that era, and it was even enjoyed watching Carlton Cole. But I'm just going to go for an underdog so that my team's just a little bit different. Whether anyone, because obviously your emphasis, you can do random things.
Of course you can, yeah. It's players that mean something to you, Geoff, and that's the idea.
Exactly. And for me, being there that day, watching him come on as a sub with Noble, Freddie Sears.
Yes.
Freddie Sears. I'm going to choose Freddie Sears.
First time on the channel. There you go.
Is it really?
Yeah. I think I'm 99.9% sure. But yeah.
I was there that day when he scored, and I was watching it again last night on YouTube, and obviously I can't remember who was up front with him. Laid it on for him, and he took a first time shot, come off the keeper's arms into the air, and he dived forward and nutted it in the goal, and you could just see the joy in his face, and obviously, being there, watching that, having a good view of it, and then watching it later on Match of the Day and thinking, that's a memory instilled in my head of Freddie scoring. So yeah, he's my final choice. I just, I mean, he's still playing in a lower team, and I think
he's still at Ipswich. I think.
I never understand why he never got more.
He still lives around the area.
Chance.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Because he was when he scored, he was like, right, this is our new Tony Cottee, wasn't it? Because he was like, he scored his debut like Cottee did, and it's one I said. I just think he, I don't know. I knew that. I just think there were so many players coming along at that time as well. I just think he got lost in the wash a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It's
obviously he wasn't as big as say Cottee.
No, he's a little guy. Yeah.
He was a little fella, and that's why I just want to fit him in. It meant something having seen him score. And you'd hoped he'd have gone on and done more, and he had that passion for West Ham. Again, It was a family thing, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just a shame. But
he still lives. I'm pretty sure he still lives around the area. I mean, he was only at Ipswich, and I think he was at Southend as well. I think, and so he still is in Hornchurch. He used to go to my barber's, although I don't really need it anymore now. But he used to go and take his son and stuff. But I just think, it's just sometimes you get these players that don't work out, innit? It's like they jump onto the scene, and then, as you said, being a small player, he could really only play with a big man. So you have to play two up front, and that's not particularly. Modern.
It probably wouldn't
formation
work with
now, is it?
Him and Di Canio, but you'd like to think Di Canio. Yeah, it set him up. It put him through a player's legs, and that's it. He's going to finish it. Because he was banging in goals left, right, and centre, when he with the youth team.
Yeah.
And you were like, again, it was like, oh, it's like Joe Cole. It's like, when are they going to give Freddie a game?
Yeah.
So
it just happens, these things, unfortunately, sometimes, don't they?
But
that's the idea. The idea of this show as well is to give these guys highlight again, like everyone goes, oh yeah, Freddie Sears, and that will start a conversation, and then and that's what it is. So we don't lose any of these players, in history, whether it's the older players because the more experienced fans have seen them play, and like John Childs and Sissons and Johnny Harris and these type of players who I had no idea who they were until I started doing this channel, and people like, as you said, the Freddie Sears, and I don't know, even the randoms like Guillermo Franco's and David Di Michele's and Abdoulaye Faye's.
I think my dad wanted me to find a place for Ticker Boyce, but I said, Dad, I never saw him play. I never saw him play, Dad. I said, so I can't put him in.
Boyce did a couple of shouts. I know that. So I think we were. He's already.
If you're old enough to have seen him, then you can put him in. But
obviously
that's how he got it. That's how he got his nickname, because he just never stopped, did he? So
no, and that's the idea, and it just gives these old players another time to shine again, and even like the players who, as you said, we've had so many players. I think we've coming through, obviously in and out, come back. Like Joe, obviously bookend his career at West Ham, really. And you're right. I think we've had probably about 175 different players have come out during the channel. Obviously, people like Julian and people.
Here's a name for you that I found, because I was looking up a game that I attended. Yeah. Obviously, Dad said, "Oh, you went to such and such a game," and it was '83 away to Man United, and we lost. And we had a player playing for us as a centre back called Joe Gallagher. Ever heard of him?
Nope.
I'm thinking, really? There was a fella called Joe Gallagher. So if you're watching this, Joe Gallagher,
yes, we'll get you on the channel. Bet your game again.
Yeah, apparently in '83, Joe Gallagher was a centre back for West Ham.
Oh my goodness! No, I never heard of him. But I mean, it's like people like Neil Finn. or Neil Fenn, who played like a game for us in goal many years ago, just one game, and that's what it's like. It's like, yeah, I'm just looking at it. He was, he played for Birmingham City. Da, da, da. How many games did he play for West Ham? He only played 9 games, 82 to 83. So you would have only seen 1/9 of his games at West Ham. But there we go. After 2 months, so he was unemployed. He'd been sacked. Wolves let him go, and then he
Yeah,
played the 82-83 season, and then he moved to Burnley, and then was sent out on loan to Halifax Town.
yeah.
So
I
we've
was
all
like,
learned
oh well,
something today.
yeah.
Geoff, man, it's been lovely talking to you. I really, really, really appreciated
Been a real
your
pleasure.
time, and all the sort of the background. Obviously, going back to your dad, making sure that you saw him play, and YouTube's, and there's been a lot of back research that's happened, and I appreciate that. And so does everyone on these things. That's what they like, is when you take a lot. People take a lot of time to go through this, and
Well, I
that's
was
what
honoured
people.
that I was honoured that you asked me, because
Absolutely.
obviously you look at your YouTube channel and see the people that have done it, and I'm thinking, I think you had Holly. Was it Holly on yesterday?
Oh, we had Holly on the other day. Yeah,
Holly
yeah,
on
yeah.
yesterday, and obviously I'm friends with her on Twitter. Never met her,
No, me neither. No.
but it's like, oh, crikey, Holly's done it as well.
Oh yeah,
So
we get everyone. We get everyone, different ages, all over the world.
mm,
Just because it's just every story is different, and that's what I think people like it. Yeah, the 11's the 11, and that's a part of it. But actually, I think most people enjoy the story. Why West Ham? What it means to you? How you get to the games as well. It's all interesting stuff, and
yeah,
particularly now we've got no football on for 6 weeks. Well, apart
yeah,
from they'll have the
it's a
Champions
massive
League and stuff.
part. It's a massive part of your adult life.
It is, yeah,
Whether or not I get a lot of stick going to work, especially when we're on a losing streak. There's not a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
guys that are, I'm probably the only West Ham fan at work, you
Yeah.
know. But I'll always have my colours on. I've always got, because I work in the warehouse as a warehouseman, I've got a high vis with West Ham on the back. Win, lose
Yeah.
or draw, I'm there.
You wear it.
No one
And
can ever.
that's the truth. I mean, I remember interviewing when even Chris Akabusi. He said, "Look, we never win nothing, but what we love is those sort of peaks, those highs, and every
Yeah,
season you'll get one or two. So it'll be beating Chelsea 3-2, or it'll be, I don't know, turning over Norwich 4-0, or Man United getting the draw. And it's those times where you can go into work on that Monday, and you've got the upper hand. Rest of the season, nah, no, no, no. But it's those 1 or 2 times a season that
oh, it's
happen
great
more.
because I go into work and the guys that you're looking for, obviously when we beat Chelsea,
Yeah.
one of my best friends at work, Mikey, is a Chelsea fan. You're walking into the warehouse. Look, Mikey, where are you? Come on,
Yeah, I go, shut up.
don't hide.
No, and that's the fun. That's what we do. That's why we support West Ham, because we know they happen 2 or 3 times a season. Like when we always used to turn up at 3 Point Lane against Spurs, and and all my Spurs mates would hate it when West Ham turn up, because they know we're going to turn up for that game. And Man United we always turn up for, and the
Yeah.
Chelsea, and that's what we do. We're so inconsistent, but that's what we do, and that's why we love West Ham. Geoff, man, it's been lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much, and obviously thank you to everyone for watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment, suggest other people you want to come on, all that type of stuff. And until next time, from me and Geoff, take care, everybody. Come on, you Irons. Looking forward to the new season, and we'll see you again very, very soon. See you later. Bye. See you later, guys. Bye bye.